Skeptico is a great podcast, and I'm sure it's also a good website. I'm not really familiar with it, but I have come across a little discrepancy on a thread titled Buyer Beware, and it calls into question the validity of Eliza Medhus's website and the material on it, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'd chip in because I just wanted to. So my worry is that this material is going to get more and more popular, the Erik Medhus phenomena that is the website with its celebrity interviews and what have you, and then it's going to be debunked because of its obvious errors. And I just thought that looking at its errors is not, and using the errors as a kind of reason for dismissing it is not quite the way to look at it, because taken in the round, what you have there is too good to be bad, unless Eliza and Jamie are in cahoots, and I don't think they are. So what I'm saying is, I would caution against throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There is something to this. Now you might say, well, it's either true or false, but actually I think we tend to project an idea of the other side that fits with human understanding, and in so doing we create a sort of test, a flawed test that the evidence must pass, without actually knowing what the test should really be. A classic example of this would be the insistence of the skeptical community that psychics should be able to perform under test conditions if they are genuine. Of course, that assumes that channeled information is not controlled or censored by a third party. I'm not talking about on this side of the curtain, but the other, or that there isn't some variable factor that affects the quality of the signal. So on the one hand, you have a common assumption that information that is flawed is fake. On the other, you have the assumption that if you get a perfect interview, which is 100% factually correct, perhaps with information the medium couldn't possibly know, predictions of the future, whatever you want, that it's genuine. Again, there is no reason why that should be the case. I mean, it could be aliens beaming a simulated celebrity into Jamie's brain. It could be Jamie accessing some unknown superconsciousness. It could be any number of things that are unknown to us. It could even be Satan. So evidence shouldn't be evaluated in that way, I think. Howard Storm had a near-death experience. He went to hell. He was rescued by Jesus, and Jesus and the angels wanted to know why Howard had dismissed the Bible. He pointed out its flaws, and they said he was nitpicking. And I think that's really interesting, because the moral of the story appears to be not that you necessarily have to read the Bible, but that Howard had ignored the truth in it when he was exposed to the Bible. In other words, instead of going nitpicking, why not go cherry picking? there are lots of cherries in the Erik Medhus material. Contrary to what it says in the buyer beware thread on Skeptico, the material is actually notable for how distinctive some of the voices are in the interviews, whether it's fake or not. There are clearly individual personalities coming through that I think any Hollywood biopic would struggle to match in character definition, whether it's fake or not. And contrary to what it suggests in the thread, Erik appeared to Eliza and Eliza's family, and that is why she believes that Erik is alive, not because she was duped by psychics. My guess is that there are defined limits on what we are supposed to know on Earth at any given time, and there's nothing that's not done without intention or design. So in other words, the purpose is not to relay some super accurate 3D world information, but it's to help awaken us spiritually. So yes, there is a new agey cultural aspect to the Erik material, but the deeper, bigger picture of what is going on behind the veil is so mysterious and complex. It's beyond our conception. So one fairy tale is as good as another if the spiritual truths in it are valued. And one is that we are not our bodies. After all, if you look at all the NDEs and try to make them agree with each other, you may discover that actually there is some contradiction. But where they don't contradict each other is in the message of universal love. Where they don't contradict each other is in the message of immortality.